The First Minister's seen the report from the Centre for Cities entitled Cities Outlook 2018, which estimates that 112,000 jobs may be at risk in Cardiff, Newport and Swansea as a result of automation. There are those who unkindly say, of course, that Welsh Labour has led the way in robotics, but there's a serious point here as well, because the areas which are most likely to be affected by automation adversely are those areas which are already deindustrialised and where unemployment is highest. In fact, in Alyn and Deeside, according to this report, faces the largest threat of 35% of jobs at risk from automation. So can the First Minister tell the Assembly what concrete plans the Welsh Government has to deal with this looming threat that lies ahead of us?
Automation is very much part of the economic action plan, and how we deal with automation is very much part of that. I know that there are many of my colleagues who sit on the back benches, Lee Waters amongst them, who's been very vocal about the need for us to face this challenge. And as I say, it is something that has been recognised in the economic action plan as something that we have to deal with. Now, how that is done depends on how fast automation goes, predicting which sectors will be automated first, and then, of course, upskilling our people. Training our people to look at new jobs is a hugely important part of ensuring that we have jobs in the future.
Well, I have no difficulty in agreeing with the First Minister on that, and indeed paying tribute to the role of Lee Waters in raising this issue in the Assembly. But there are other things that can be done as well. The areas which are most likely to be affected by this, again, according to not only this report, but also one by another organisation called Future Advocacy, says that 1 in 5 jobs in every constituency in the whole of the United Kingdom could disappear by 2030. And in the cities in particular, these are affected mostly by mass immigration. And without leaving the single market, of course, we won't be able to recover control of our borders and select the groups which have the skills that we will need in future, whilst also controlling the flow of those who will actually exacerbate problems which are going to take place of their own accord in any event. Even on the latest figures, which were substantially down on the previous period, net migration stands at 230,000 a year. Newport, Swansea, Cardiff and Wrexham are the cities that are most affected by this in Wales. These are the areas also which are most likely, therefore, to see wage compression further exacerbated as a result of automation. So will the First Minister not now accept that some sensible controls on migration are necessary, and that does mean leaving the single market?
Well, no, it doesn't, because, of course, that would destroy the market that we sell in. He knows full well that 60% of what we export go to the single market, 90% of food and drink goes to the single market. If those exports are jeopardised, if demand drops for what we produce in those markets, we lose jobs. It's that simple. It's not a question of immigration, it's a question of making sure that we have the markets that we need in order to sustain demand for what we produce, and then, of course, be able to sell. And we know that the European single market is most important. If we cannot cut a deal with the European single market, there is no hope for cutting a deal with any other market.
I certainly don't agree with that at all. And it's not the case that trade will suddenly seize up if we leave the single market. It'll affect certain sectors more than others. That's certainly true. But there's massive scope for import substitution given the huge trade deficit that we've got with the EU. But I don't want to pursue that line any further now. The other point that I want to make, though, is the pressure on housing in the whole of the country, and particularly in South East Wales. We're likely to see this increase as a result of getting rid of the tolls on the Severn Bridge, which we're all in favour of, but nevertheless there's bound to be some effect on the local property market as a result of the difference in house prices on this side of the Severn compared with on the other side of the Severn. The ONS has said that rents in the UK have gone up by 23% in a decade, which is faster than the growth in incomes. So again, the pressure is upon those who are at the bottom of the income scale more than anywhere else. And towns like Newport, of course, are relatively poor towns in income terms. So will the First Minister agree with me that these are pressures that need to be taken fully into account, and there needs to be a policy on the part of the Welsh Government for doing something about this?
Houses.
Yes.
And it would help, of course, people didn't object to every single housing application that appeared on their doorstep, which we know has happened in the past, and his party are well known for that opposition. We as a government have a target of 20,000 affordable homes. We're well on track to deliver that, and we need to make sure that the pressure is taken off the housing market by ensuring that there is more supply of houses. And as a government, is precisely what we're doing.